Hey, what's going on, my fellow idiots? Welcome back for another episode of Idiot Proof Cooking. So today I'm combining the best meal of the day, breakfast, with the most efficient way to eat all of your food, a burrito, and I'm making a breakfast burrito. Seriously, I love burritos. They are such an efficient way to eat your food. No messing around with forks, knives, spoons. You wrap everything up in one tortilla, boom, and put it in your body. But seriously, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to deal with for this breakfast burrito is the meat, starting off with some bacon. I've got a whole pack here of just regular old bacon. I've put it on my wire rack set in a rimmed baking sheet, and I'm going to throw it in my oven preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and bake this for 15 to 20 minutes. Next in is some regular old breakfast sausages, and I'm just going to bring those into the kitchen because we're going to cook those in a couple minutes. Alright, so now that we've handled the meat... Oops, that sounded a bit dirty. Anyways, now that we've dealt with the meat, let's make some hash browns. I've got a couple of yellow potatoes here, and I'm just going to grate them on my box grater because this is what hash browns are. And then I'm going to throw them into a bowl of cold water. One, so that they don't brown, but also when you put your shredded up potatoes in the water, it's going to suck out a lot of that excess starch, which will make them nice and crispy when you fry them. Alright, so let's set those aside for a moment and deal with the eggs. I'm just going to scramble my eggs here, so I'm going to crack 3 large eggs into a bowl here. As always, make sure you don't get any shells in, and if you do, pick them out. So 3 eggs into a bowl. I'm just going to throw in a little pinch of kosher salt. I like to throw a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper into my eggs, so just a little pinch of kosher salt, a few twists of freshly ground black pepper, and then scramble your eggs accordingly. Alright, now that that's done, let's move back to the potatoes for a moment. I've rinsed them off. Look at that. They're less starchy, so what we got to do is dry all these potatoes off. Get either some paper towel or a fresh tea towel like I'm using here, and we're just going to pour our potatoes into the center of them and then use the tea towel or the paper towel to dry them off. We want them nice and dry because we're going to shallow fry these potatoes, and if they happen to have any water on them when you throw them in the oil, you are going to get a lot of spittering and spattering of oil, and you could just burn yourself. So it's best to have nice and dry shredded potatoes to make your hash browns. Alright, that's been dealt with, but we are going to season the potatoes a little bit with a pinch or 2 of kosher salt and then a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. This is all optional. You can just eat them plain if you want, but I want to also add in a teaspoon of garlic powder to make some garlicky hash browns. Just give the spices a good stir into all of your potatoes, and then it's time to head into the kitchen to start cooking this all. I pre-assembled pretty much everything and it's ready to cook. So in the kitchen I've got 3 pans here, my 12-inch cast iron skillet to cook the hash browns in, my non-stick pan to cook the eggs in, and then my stainless steel pan to cook the breakfast sausages in. And speaking of breakfast sausages, let's start with them. I have my pan on a medium heat, and I'm just going to throw all 5 sausages in and cook them for the next 10 to 12 minutes, turning them every once in a while. Next, we'll deal with the hash browns here. My cast iron pan is heating up on a medium-high heat. I have 1/8 of an inch of avocado oil in. I'm just going to dump all of the hash browns in, flatten them out, and then let them fry untouched for 3 to 5 minutes until they start to crisp along the bottom here. After 3 to 5 minutes, just start giving them a stir. You can see I've got a nice little crust forming, and then it's time to start mixing these up a little bit, but then we're gonna again let them fry for another 3 to 5 minutes untouched. That's the trick. You want to just like flatten them out, leave them untouched for 3 to 5 minutes to let them fry up and crisp up. And speaking of which, crisp up, here's the bacon. It is done after about 15 minutes in the oven. Look at that, that looks perfect. Now back to the sausages. As you can see here, I'm turning them and they've got a nice little char on the sides of them. They are looking perfect. And back to the hash browns again. It's been another 3 minutes or so, so I'm going to give them another stir. They are starting to crisp up quite nicely, and like I said, you just want to like stir them every once in a while, then flatten them back out, then scrape them up here, and as you can see here, you're starting to get a nice crispy hash brown. Look at that. Those are going to be so good. Alright, now let's deal with the eggs here. I've got my non-stick pan that's been heating up on a medium-low heat, so I'm just going to pour the 3 eggs into the pan. Now the eggs are obviously the thing that's going to cook the quickest, so that's why I'm cooking them last. But anyways, we're going to just give them a constant stir with a spatula so that they're nice and fluffy when they're done. So stir those around. Now I do have to take a break from the eggs for a second to go back to the hash browns. Look at here, they are nice and crispy. So we're gonna pull them out here. I'm just gonna give them a quick shake on my spatula here to drip off any of the excess oil. Let's give them a quick taste test here, and oh yeah, they are nice and crispy. They are perfectly seasoned, a little bit garlicky. I love it. I love it. All right, so quickly back to the eggs. Just gonna give them another stir here until they're thoroughly cooked through. I cannot stand creamy scrambled eggs. They thoroughly gross me out, so I cook mine all the way through. All right, now that they're cooked, let's go into the other room and start assembling. I got myself here a large tortilla, and I'm going to start off by putting some sour cream down. So a base layer of sour cream, just spread it out like, 1 or 2 tablespoons of sour cream, and then we're going to throw our hash browns down on top of that. I'm going to use, I think, all of them. Oh, and there's Rose peeking in. So hash browns down, and then I'm going to throw my eggs on top, my fully cooked scrambled eggs, no creamy scrambled eggs on this channel. And then I'm going to throw some bacon on. This is going to be a fully loaded breakfast burrito, guys. So I'm going to throw down 3 strips of bacon and then some breakfast sausages. Similar to the bacon, 3 sausages. As much as I'd like to throw, 10 strips of bacon, 10 sausages, there is unfortunately a finite amount of space in the burrito wrap, so I had to limit it to 3 each. Last but not least, I'm going to throw in some cheddar cheese, just a handful or so of shredded cheddar cheese. And then just for my own personal taste, I'm going to throw on some hot sauce. I'm using Cholula because I recently developed a taste for Cholula hot sauce. I quite like it, so I'm putting some on. And then it's time to roll this up. All right, let's test out my burrito making skills here. Grab the sides of the burrito, fold it into the center, press down on everything, grab the back end of it, while also simultaneously grabbing the front and kind of just scrunch it together is the word I would use. Scrunch it, like rolling it, well, scrunching it together until you roll the back half on top of the front half of the burrito. And look at that, we've got a burrito. That is a thick chud of a burrito. Now what I'm going to do is just fry it on both sides on my nonstick pan for a minute so that everything seals up. And look at that, we have got a breakfast burrito that looks beautiful. So let's cut into it, shall we? I'm using my Boss Deed knife here. Gonna cut it down the center. And look at that, the eggs and the cheese with the 3 sausages in the middle and the hash browns on the bottom. That looks kind of cool. Oh man. So anyways, it smells amazing, so let's taste test it and make sure it lives up to my pretty high standards of a good breakfast burrito. One final close-up shot before we go in, and here we go. First bite. Oh yeah, that is really good. It is meaty with the bacon and the sausage, and obviously it's got the nice garlicky hash browns in there. They are delicious and crispy, and the cheese and the eggs, this is perfect. It is literally a whole breakfast wrapped up in a burrito, and man, was it good. So you know what, let's call it there. I had a lot of fun making the breakfast burrito for you here today, and I hope you liked what you saw. If you did, why don't you drop me a comment, like the video, or even subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching Idiot Proof Cooking, and we'll see you again soon.